I know you're going to enjoy doing ruler work as much as I am. So there's a couple things that you're going to need to get started, and one is a ruler foot. And you can see that this foot is quite a bit different than our normal free motion foot. You've got quite a big, bulky foot on the bottom here. They don't hop like your free motion foot. They do have a little spring attachment, but they actually just slide right along the fabric. They don't do the hopping. This is the number 72, and that's what I use on my Bernina. But every single sewing machine manufacturer has their own recommended foot, and that's what you need to check with for your machine to see what foot is recommended. There's low shank feet that are 3/16 high. There's high shank feet that are 1/4 inch high, and you need to see what your manufacturer recommends. And then the next thing you need are the rulers. So we can't use our normal OmniGrid rulers. In fact, they're quite dangerous because if you were to use this and be sliding along, this thing can just, it's too low and it can jump right on top. And then you can see that you're definitely going to bust off your needle. You could really do some damage to your machine as that needle really hits that acrylic hard surface, and you can bounce over and even sew through your finger. So you need to invest in the actual rulers that come specially made for this purpose. And they are 1/4 inch thick, so they're quite a bit thicker so that when you run this along, you can't hop up on top there. So there's several different kinds. We're going to start with the straight one, but we will get to some curved ones and the circle ones too, just to show you how they work. I'm just going to go ahead and fit this on my machine. So they fit on there quite easily. And then let's talk about the ruler itself a little bit. So they are, a nice acrylic ruler. They have all kinds of little measurements on them that make for very precise sort of work. But they can be slippery because you're going to be holding them like this. You're going to try to guide it along that ruler, but they can be slippery. So it's really nice if you can also get something. They make them in little dots that you can put on the back. The ones I like are the handy grip ones, and these ones have some stick-em on one side, and then you can see they almost have like a little fine sandpaper surface, and that way they really grip to the surface of the fabric and they don't slip around on you. So that's another great thing to start with. And then we're going to start with some straight, but I do want to show you this whole project a little bit. So this is about the size of a little placemat. And I think these are really nice little projects to start with because you can experiment, you can practice all of your different fillers, you can practice your ruler work on them. You could, put a little statement on each of them. You could, make ones for a holiday purpose. But it's nice to, have something to practice on, that you're not worried that it's going to be, really perfect at the beginning, because it won't be, but also something that could be usable. Okay, so we're going to do some of these straight lines. So if you look right here, so there's the straight line that I want to go off of. And so if I turn this and line up my ruler with that line, and you can see that between that little groove and my ruler, that is exactly 1/4 inch. So if I just hold my ruler, so my hand position should be like this. I'm not digging that ruler down into the surface because then it's going to impede the fabric from moving along. If it's got the stabilizers on the back, it'll just hold on to that very nicely. And I'm just going to not really, press this foot into this really firmly too. It's just a guide, just a nice gentle guide, and you can move your hands. They don't have to. You don't have to move along very quickly. But it's just, if you can keep this ruler on the line, then you can see that we can just move right along here. I'm going to stop when I come to the next place. So then I need to move my ruler over to this line, which means that I need to move over about 1/4 of an inch. And you can see that where that little groove is going to be about 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to line up with the line here again. And then go down. Slow down when you come where you're going to come to that intersection. Then I can just move right down that line. And I'm going to move down there until I can line up my ruler again. And then, looks like I need about 1 more stitch to line up. Okay, here we go. So, and then just down again till I get that 1/4 inch away. So that's the thing to remember about these rulers, is you're always going to be 1/4 of an inch away from where you want, from the actual side of this ruler. So right. Line up again here. And then, you can just change. So you could, change the direction like we talked about. So we can just come back along that line a little ways. And I can change the direction that I'm going to go now. So come down this line, and you can work off of this side of the ruler. You could certainly turn it and work off of this side of the ruler. So it doesn't matter which hand your ruler is in, whichever is the easiest for you to see is what's going to be the best. So we're going to go down here a little bit more. And you can see that I'll have to move my ruler now because that's where my line is. So go on the other side with it. And even though you can see that I marked this, I don't really need to do the marking if I'm doing using the ruler, because the ruler, you don't even have to have those marks in there anymore. Because if you've got one line to go off of, then you can just keep putting those lines in. When you're trying to decide which of these rulers to buy for domestic machines, you don't want ones that are really, really long, like some of the long armers use, because we don't have that big of a space that we're going to be moving our little quilt top around, or this space right here if you have a bigger quilt. So the little bit shorter rulers, for like the straight line ones, you can see that mine isn't that long because it just, because I'm going to have to actually, reposition the quilt when I get to needing to move that far. Okay, so I'm going to take my few little stitches here, and then I just want to show you too that I could use this without rulers. So if you see this little space right here, say I wanted to fill that in on both sides of this curve. So I can just use this as a free motion foot, obviously too. So we're just going to put that back down. And you can, if you're trying to follow a line or something, you can see use that little guide right there. But you know, these are just free motion feet too, so you can just fill in that little space. The only thing about them is I can't see as well because that shank is there. You can see that on a BSR foot or a normal foot, free motion foot, that you have a lot better visibility than I'm going to have with this one. So, but there's no need to change if you're just doing a simple area or simple filler in a small space, then that's not a problem either. So next we're going to go and we are going to look at using some of the curved rulers and some of the circle rulers. If you go into a quilt show these days, it seems like every single vendor out there has rulers. So there's a lot of people making rulers for ruler work. So on the ones, the straight line ones, this is my favorite one. It's a 9-inch long one. It's by White Arbor Quilting. And if you look here, you can see that it's got those marks so that you can are going to be putting it in every 1/4 of an inch. So if you line up, find a line, so say that's the side of your block, and you're going to line that up, because remember that when you put that foot up, your needle's actually going to be a 1/4 of an inch away from this line. And then you would go to the next line. So, and then you line it up and then you'll keep going. And then it also has 1/8 inch lines. So if you really want this like matchstick quilting to be much, much closer, then you can use the 1/8 inch lines also. Another nice thing about this ruler is that it has several angles. So this 60-degree angle. So once again, say I was going off the side of a triangle, maybe it was a fabric, a pieced flying geese or something, then I can line that directly up with that, and I can start with my straight lines off of that. So then let's look at some circles. So I think you basically need to start with a straight line ruler, one straight line ruler, and some circles, depending on what you think you might use. So there's these type of circles. So these are by Lisa Kelly, and they come in various sizes. So you can see what size you might want to use. You can see that these also have orientations, so you can line them up, and get, if you wanted to, do some scallops or something on your you have a border and you want to scallop quilt in your border, you can line those up with that. So those come in various sizes. And then these are the pebbling ones. So these are by Lisa Kelly too, and they're the Pro Pebbles, and they come in a variety of sizes. Remember that when you look at the diameters of these, that when you're actually going to be quilting on the inside, you are going to be a 1/4 of an inch smaller in circumference all the way around, because your needle's a 1/4 of an inch inside of this. The same with these, you're going to be a 1/4 of an inch larger than this initial one. So they, like I said, depending on what sorts of pebbling or circles that you think you would most frequently use, go ahead and get a circle ruler at least to try those. So we're going to try both the ones that are inside and the ones that are outside. We'll give a try to those.